What's the worst pain you've experienced and what caused it? Cyst rubbing on spinal cord. Edit. The synovial fluid between the vertebrae formed the cyst. The vertebrae were rubbing together and formed a synovial cyst. The cyst was at my lumbar 3 lower back. It rubbed on a large nerve that went down the front of the left leg. Pain was as if I tore my quad. I wish this pain on no one. Surgery resolved issue, but now I have structural issues because they removed part of the vertebrae to avoid rubbing. Life goes on. Sit up straight, folks. Instantly adjusted my posture after reading this. Botched root canal. Dentist left material in my gums and sealed the tooth over it. Became infected and felt like a power drill boring into my skull. Solid 9 on the pain scale. Endodontist had to cut a hole and clean it out before sealing it up again. When part of my spinal fusion broke, not enough pains in the world could stop that. Happened a month after my first surgery. Holy duck. This was my biggest fear when I had spinal fusion surgery. I'm so sorry. Broken pelvis from a motorcycle accident. I started feeling some pain while reading the comments, but I definitely somatized while reading this one. This post is painful. It wasn't nice to say the least. I blacked out when the accident happened and woke up in the hospital. Doped up, then went straight to theater. It was the recovery that hurt. Took me 3 months to walk comfortably again. I had constant heavy painkillers for those 3 months. It hurt to just sitting still. That was the worst part. A month of moving anything and it hurting. Can't even shift your neck or lift a hand without tweaking your pelvis. It's all connected, damn it. Then 2 damn years to get back to playing sports, only to fold my ankle sideways into my shin and start another really long recovery. Friggin' stupid body. All fragile and squishy. A super bad UT. Couldn't pee without screaming and had to pee every 15 minutes. Pee was bright red from all the blood. I remember playing on a trampoline as a kid and landing on my crotch on the metal outside part. I had a little tear in my urethra, and good god, the pain when urinating was like nothing I've ever experienced. Hurt so much worse than the injury itself. A stomach ulcer burst and blood escaped into my stomach and bowels. After few hours of surgery, the cramps in my stomach made me yell out loud. It was uncontrollable for 2 days, like glass slicing me up internally. My stepson died of this. Happened in the middle of the night and his mother didn't take him to the emergency room. He went septic and died th next day. God, so sorry. I was lucky my Apple Watch alerted my heart rate going crazy. Took to hospital and sat for hours while they did tests, then suddenly started vomiting blood like John Hurt an alien. I was sure I was dying. 20 minutes later I'm being gassed before being operated on, and by that stage I was so weak and afraid I just wanted to let go. Mental pain stays with me today. Awful news about your stepson. I was lucky. Was in right place at right time or I'd be gone too, I'm sure of it. I woke up one day tired ASF. Couldn't almost see. I stood up to do number 2 and just almost everything went black. Managed to walk to the toilet and sit down. My excrements were black and the entire time I was on the toilet I was just burning up. Never been so hot in my life. Managed to crawl into bed and just fell asleep thinking it would be over. When I woke up, nope. Shit was still there. Called the emergency room and they asked me to come down. Ended up staying in the hospital for a week due to a ulcer in my stomach bleeding. Luckily it wasn't big, so it stopped bleeding by itself. But I did throw up on the table when they showed a camera in my mouth and were like, yeah, we found it, and left the camera there while talking for what felt like minutes. In the end I couldn't control it and just threw up and passed out for a minute. My dog ripped my testicle stitches open. I have swollen blood vessels in my scrotum, both sides at the moment, and had surgery to suppress the pain. They go in, cut the nerve, then stitch me up. I'm recovering 3 hours later in bed when my pup jumps on to cuddle. For context, she's rather small and weighs just about 7 pounds. She curls up in a ball on my crotch with her head resting on my tummy. We fall asleep for a while until my sister comes home. My pup jumps off my body while using my groin as a jump pad. I screech an inhuman noise, cry for an hour, and pass out from the pain meds. That was August 4th, and I had my second surgery December 29th. Second surgery went by much smoother and I have the last surgeries planned for next year. I ran over a ground hornet nest with a lawnmower when I was about 12. The parental units wouldn't let me in the house because I'd bring them with me. So I just ran around while the entire nest stung me repeatedly until they were all raged out. The average ground wasp nest has over 500 wasps, and they'll all defend the nest. They each can sting repeatedly. If you didn't know, it takes a long time for angry wasps to finish raging. I'm not allergic, or I definitely would have died. As it was, I swelled up to at least twice my size for about 2 days. A cyst between my buttocks got infected and it hurt like hell for over 2 days. I can't even describe the pain, but because of it I couldn't sleep, or even sit, or lay down in a position that wouldn't make it hurt as much. Had minor surgery where they messed up, and a blood clot got behind the incision, and it got infected. For a week I had to get help getting out of bed to just go to the bathroom. When the blood clot ruptured the incision it was instant relief. It was Friday, October 14th, 2016. I woke up in a cold sweat and in terrible pain. My back to my belly button felt like I was being filleted from the inside with a knife made of pure lava. I went to the emergency room and the doctor on staff said, "Yep, you've got a kidney stone. Good news is that it's halfway down your ureter. Just drink plenty of water and pass it over the next few days." I was prescribed oxycodone and sent on my way. I was never someone that likes taking painkillers. They make me feel off. I was allowed to take one every 6 hours. As I drank over a gallon of water and took the medication I felt worse and worse throughout the day. The medication did absolutely nothing. Not a thing for the pain. Late Friday night I couldn't take it anymore. I said to my wife, "Sweetie, I need you to take me to the hospital, please." She got our 6-month-old in his car seat. I crawled to the back seat of her car in such immense pain that I couldn't talk. Pure sweat running down my face. We arrive at the hospital. What I found out is that the evil methodical doctor I saw in the emergency room before neglected to tell me at the time was that the stone was a 7.5mm boulder. There was absolutely no way that it would fit down the ureter and pass naturally. It was jammed tight in my ureter and didn't budge at all. The new emergency room doctor said, "Wait, you were sent home with that. You need surgery immediately." So here I'm dosed with a painkiller cocktail of Dilaudid and fentanyl via my fourth, and it is barely making a dent. The nurse came in to see me and said, "Oh, remember to keep breathing. Okay, your respiratory rate is extremely low and your blood O2 level is dipping." I said, "Oh, okay. Remember to keep breathing. Got it." In the meantime my wife is saying, "What the duck does that mean?" I was tripping balls at the time and didn't think anything of it. Fast forward 6 hours and I'm taken in for surgery. I was knocked out and then had the procedure. They stuck a laser up my coal and blasted the stone. However, they had to also send a steel claw up there to extract the pieces, since they separated into shards that embedded into my ureter. I wake up to the doctor shaking a specimen vial with what sounded like broken glass. He showed me the 4mm stone and the rest of the debris. He said, "That was the worst one I've ever taken. How you were still conscious with a 7.5mm in your ureter is a mystery to me." The doctor said, "You'll have a stent in your ureter for a couple weeks while it heals. You may have an unpleasant sensation when you urinate." That was a massive understatement. If you've ever used a high pressure hose at a car wash you'll notice that after you let go of the trigger the hose shakes for a moment because of the abrupt pressure change. Imagine that same thing occurring between your bladder and kidney. Pissing was excruciating. The doctor had to repeatedly cancel and reschedule to have the stent removed because of his schedule. Fast forward 8 weeks later. The day to have this miserable stent removed has finally come. I lay down, spread eagle in the procedure room. The nurse injects a numbing agent up my piss hole. She warns, "It'll only make it numb from penis to bladder." I didn't think much of it at the time. I was under the impression that the whole process would be painless. The doctor comes in and says, "Let's get this show on the road. You might feel some slight pressure and discomfort." He jams a thick black tube up my dick while I look on in fascinated horror. "I feel it in my bladder," he says. "Okay, Now for the bad part. I have to pull the stent out. I'll do it on the count of the 3. Try to relax. 1 rip. The ducker did it on 2. I now know what a lawnmower being started feels like. Duck kidney stones. I got bit on my thumb by a bat when it was in my apartment. I was trying to catch it in a garbage sack to get it outside when it got me through the bag. The next morning in the emergency room, I needed to get the rabies vaccine. Turns out you want the injection of the vaccine to be around the point of potential infection. So I had to get 14 shots in my thumb. There was still some of the formula left in the vial, so they had to also give me a shot in each shoulder, each thigh and my butt. The thumb pain was probably the worst I've ever felt. I had surgery to remove a bit of my brain where my seizures started. I woke up after 6-7 hours, and I was so out of it. I just remembered a nurse asking me what she was holding in her hand to see if I was with it or not. Nurse holding a pen, what is this? Me, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Nurse, is this a pen or a coin? Me, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. They put me out again. And I woke up a few hours later just repeating again how much it hurt. It was a 10 on the scale and I just wasn't with it. Worst night ever for both me and my wife who had to witness it all. Radiator blowing a cap and covering me with 220-degree water. 3rd degree burns on 30% of my body. Worst instant pain ever experienced. I'm not a professional mechanic, but when I help my friends out it's the first rule I teach them of never ever. Apart from taking anything metal of their bodies, blocks and jack stands, always let it cool down. Before working on a car my brother also learned the hard way. Luckily he put his shirt on top of the cap. As it shot out it soaked the majority of coolant that would have hit his face, only got it on his chest and stomach. Let the engine cool down before you even touch anything under pressure. I had a deer antler on the ground with the points facing downward and the curve facing upwards, and landed on my ass on top of it in the middle of the night at my grandparents'. Tailbone making contact with the antler. I was like 12 years old, and it was very hard to stay quiet, and I rolled around holding on to my ass in great pain. I got braces when I was 28. The ortho talked me into getting a palate expander for adults in lieu of removing healthy teeth in order to shape my smile. Well, it ducking sucked. The absolute worst part was when 2 of the screws on the roof of my mouth got infected. When they removed them, I let out a scream and jumped up in the chair. It was so intensely painful I almost passed out. Breaking my jaw. Blacking out from a panic attack. Brown recluse bite on my shin. 0-10 would not recommend. Being stabbed in the gut 3 times. Edit, sorry I couldn't reply to all of you. I was asleep. Thanks for the kind replies, you people are awesome. My left middle finger was bitten down to the bone by an octopus 10 years ago now. Severed 3-4 tendons, think they missed 1 during surgery, an artery, and did 50% nerve damage. I have most use of it today, but I will never be able to straighten out fully the rest of my life. Edit, since many have asked. Yes, I was awarded some money. No, I won't share how much. It was an okay amount. I definitely could have gone after much more with how he handled himself. But I just wanted him to pay what he legally owed me. I won the initial hearing and he proceeded to appeal 4-5 times, each of which I also won. Total thing took almost 7 years. NSFW NSFL link. This is what my finger looked like a few days after it happened. For those who are into that kind of thing. If you aren't, don't click that link. Broken hip. Walked around on crutches. Tried some stairs. Slipped and stepped hard on the wrong foot. Actually, I don't really remember the pain, but experienced a complete brain reboot. No vision, no hearing, didn't even scream. When I came back the pain was just bearable, but still breathtaking. 2-10 would not break hip again. Spinal leak headache. Bro, same. Had it for 10 days. Was absolutely ducking hell in every regard. It's like having a hot anvil crush your head while all your senses scream at you constantly. For the curious, Google postural puncture headache, or simply cerebrospinal fluid leak. Woke up during surgery. Luckily they weren't far in, so they were able to put me back under, and no real damage was done from me trying to make my escape from the table. I woke up when they were moving me, so I was not strapped down. I remember being suddenly awake and screaming, and it felt like my back was on fire. There were 3 people laying across me holding me down. When I woke up in recovery, absolutely nothing they gave me helped with the pain, and I spent like the next day just throbbing in pain and sobbing. It was so bad. I did have several 10-inch needles stuck in my spine, pumping contrast into the discs when it happened, so that is most likely why it hurt so friggin' bad. But why they decided to keep going. Like I said, no real damage, just a lot of pain, because those needles were not meant to be in a moving person. I had a gallstone blocking the bile duct. I've given birth without pain relief 3 times, and I can honestly say the gallstone was the worst pain I have ever been in. I was constipated and had to poop really bad. It finally came out after 2 days, and in the process I ripped my butthole. It would hurt for me to sit down, walk, and take a shit. It was so painful. When I had to poop I was so afraid too. Imagine someone stabbing you in the butt with a knife. It lasted almost 3 months. Edit grammar. Edit 2. I seen some people said they had to get surgery. Oh my god. Same here, but they said if it didn't get better in 6 months, they were worried it could get infected and that would make things worse. I wish this on no one. And for people that have this issue on and off, I wish the anal fairy bless that butthole, because this shit is no joke. Also, first reward. Thank you. My back surgeries. They had to do them while I was awake, so they didn't burn the wrong nerves. It was extremely painful. It happened because I was in a hit and run accident. I managed to get a picture of the guy's car as he took off. License plate and all. No one took me seriously when I told them how much pain I was in. My car insurance company refused to pay for my treatment because they said there was no way I was as injured as I said I was, even though I had multiple doctors saying otherwise. They based their decision solely on the damage or lack of damage to my SUV because a small car hit me. That was in April 2018. Here it is August 2021, and I've had 2 back surgeries. Physical therapy 3 different times. Chiropractic. Now I'm doing water therapy, and I'm on high doses of pain pills and pain patches.